सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। ओम। Last time we discussed about titiksha, and we said titiksha is glad acceptance of the situation, and one can develop that titiksha when there is a Ishvara in one's life. That means that Ishvara, who is a karma phaladata. When you look at Ishvara as karma phaladata and accept karmas, the situation as a grace of the Lord, titiksha becomes easy. Having said so, and it is necessary, titiksha helps one to maintain the necessary composure of the mind. When the mind is composed, one can assimilate or own up the knowledge. If it is colored by, or if it is pressurized by likes and dislikes, then that mind cannot receive the knowledge objectively. More so, in absence of titiksha, there is a tendency to blame oneself, make a judgment about oneself. And that judgment is usually that I am unlucky, my prarabdha is bad, this and that. And there is anxiety of future, and there is a pain and fear for future also, and past memories. Having said that, therefore, there is a vakya which I quoted from Vivek Chudamani, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyate. Accepting all dukkhas apratikara, without resistance. There is a difference in become without in these two things, not to resist and not to work. Resistance means non-acceptance of the fact. Resistance means sort of a complaining why this is like this. Resistance means there is a feeling that this should not be like this in my life. The typical American, why me, that feeling. That feeling is called pratikara. You accept this is what it is, full stop, period. And when there is an acceptance, then you become objective to deal with the situation in the way you want. Suppose you are wanting a change in that situation. Fine, work for a change. But you work for a change after accepting the situation, not with a grumbling mind, not with a complaining mind, not with a resisting mind. So, chinta vilaparahitam satitiksha nigatyate. This is necessary, more so in the day-to-day life when you have to relate to the people. because each individual has his or her own background, and her background or his background, her or his unconscious, governs her conscious responses. They dictate those hidden feelings, that dysfunctional thinking of the mind, those emotions which has been there for a long time, that as though it has, those emotions have made a home in that person psyche. Like emotions like this, that the world is not trustworthy, people are not good, they are not perfect, they will certainly make mistake. All kinds of emotions are nothing but the repetitive visualizing the past pain. A given experience brings out some painful, unwanted, or you can say negative emotions. The event has died down factually. The incident is over in terms of the objective world, but the memory is used to relive the event. That event lives in the mind for years together. There was a pain caused by that particular event, and that pain is being relived. So there is a pain caused by pain. So pain of the pain. So you add up the pain. And when you add the pain, certain feelings, that pain caused that anger, frustration, insecurity, anxiety caused by given experience. That anxiety becomes confounded, fear becomes confounded, you can say solidified in the mind. And those feelings then slowly start governing how you think. You think and build up the feeling, and then the feelings built up the thinking, and thinking built up the feeling. That's how every new experience is seen in that background. So these people are not alive to the present situations. The responses in a given present situation is often colored by, shaded by those feelings. And that is why you have to, that is called background. So that Pujya Swamiji often used to say, one step behind, one step ahead. So you don't see what the person says and respond immediately. You see the mind behind, you see the feeling behind, and when you see the cause, there is a sympathy. That this is how it is. And then you accept the person with limitations. Just as the other person has, I too have my own background, and I accept myself with limitations. I learn to accept others with limitations, and thereby you remove the fangs of that situation which bite me in terms of pain to me, in terms of some negative feelings in me. Exactly like a mother sees something behind, one step therapy, and the baby is in tantrums, crying, shouting. She knows the baby feels sleepy. Now let me finish this job. I'll put the baby to bed and it will be okay. So she's behind. She doesn't get hurt. The husband or the other family members may shout, "Hey, come on, attend to him. He's crying and shouting and blah, blah, blah." They don't mind. Just let me finish for 2 minutes. I'll go to bed and put him to bed. So that tiksha would be natural, or it would be helpful to one to develop the tiksha in, I repeat, glad acceptance, not simply forbearance. What cannot be cured should be endured. That will put more pressures within. When one just simply endures the things, certainly it has given rise to certain pain here, but you are not expressing the pain. That pain adds up to the pain of the past, and then adding up creates a pressure, and one day it blows. So endurance is good. Endurance, you can say, it is like Dhamma. Teacher here is not talking of Dhamma. Teacher is talking of the Tiksha, glad acceptance. Apratikara purvakam titiksha nigadyate. That acceptance becomes natural. Acceptance becomes effortless. Acceptance becomes usual, my approach, and thereby my, my response also becomes objective if I see the background of the person in relationship particularly. It's very important quality. One, that is where Karma Yoga also helps, though we have not, it's not a topic over here, but if you see that as a prasada buddhi, if you see this as a bigger picture, titiksha becomes natural. That's why in our culture, the marriage is used to work. They will accept the spouse as Ishvara Prasada. The marriage, I got into this kind of relationship with the spouse. He or she is a gift of the God, and I have to make the family. That commitment and that attitude gave them the strength to accept those unpleasant situations, unpleasant behavior of the spouse, and still continue. That, as I said, it gives some inner strength, some buffer, sort of a jumper, shock absorber, which can absorb such shocks in terms of relationships. Then comes Shraddha. The teacher says, the question and answer, Shraddha Kidrishi. What is the nature of Shraddha? What you call Shraddha? The answer is Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha. Vishwasaha means, well, there are certain words for which there is no synonym in English. We can say faith, we can say trust, but I will have to explain what the trust means. As temporarily, we accept that a trust. Trust on what? On teacher, on Vedanta Vakya, means the Shastra, and Adishu. Adi means and, etc. Trust upon teachers, scriptures, etc. So we have to understand first what is Vishwasa, Shraddha, then why on Shastra, then why on teacher, and what does it mean by etc., etc. We will see one by one. Listen this. Vedanta Shastra, here the meaning of Shraddha is entirely different than all other Shastras. All other religion and all our Shastras also. Like the Puranas talk something, or all other religion talk something. If you pray, you will get this. Their Shraddha is in a sense of belief. And you can say trust, but trust to a promise given by them. So like even if you are faithful, you are promised a birth in heaven. You are promised that on the day of judgment, Jesus will vouch for you and God will give you permission or green card for heaven. It's a promise for something hereafter. Shastra doesn't talk of a promise. It's a statement of fact. And whatever phalam is talked about of the gnanam, ataso abhayam bhavati, a wise man goes beyond fear, wise man becomes happy forever, etc. That is also not the promise. That is the effect of the discovering that particular fact. So Vedanta Shraddha is different. Other Shraddha is you hope that the promise will come true. And actually there is a Shraddha on the person who has given the promise, but not on the Shastra much. Jesus promises, and Bible says, but Bible came from Jesus and he promised. Or that's true for all our granthas. Here it is a statement of fact, one. Secondly, that factual statement has worked for many, for millennia. It has worked for every generation. every teacher and every student thereby has confirmed that this is a fact. They have never said it's a promise. When it's a promise, that too something hereafter, you don't have a confirmation from the people who went there. They are not allowed to come back. And if I'm sure, if at all they were allowed to come back, the people will not accept them. Like Nachiketa, when he goes to Yamaraja, then he in the first boon, when Yamaraja gives him to the stories, he stays there 3 nights for hungry outside his home, and Yamaraja comes, and then he said, "You are my guest, and Brahmana and Brahmachari, so I'm sorry I couldn't meet you, and therefore ask 3 boons. Then we'll look into what for you are here." Then he says, first boon, Shant Sankalpassu Mana Yatha Syat Vitamanyu Gautamo Mahavir Murtyo Tat Prattavi Mahavivaded Pratita. He says, let my father have that peace of mind. Let him have cheerfulness. Let him not have some guilt and hurt. That what did I do? I sent my own son to hell and that to Yamaraja, etc. And when Tat Prattavi Mahavivaded, when you send me back, let him recognize as before. He may not take me as a ghost. So, anybody coming back from heaven will not become acceptable also. So, you have a trust on the promise. Here, the statement of the fact is something to be discovered here and now. And for millennia, for generations, people have validated that this is true. And therefore, there is no reason for me not to believe into what Shastra says to begin with. That is called Shraddha. Just accept it. Let it. I hope it will work because it has worked for many. Exactly like when you do alternative therapy. Suppose somebody has some some cold problem or cough problem or sinus problem, and then person has undergone many tests and a lot of medicine and it has not been cured. Then somebody comes and says, you do this pranayama, it has worked. And then you meet with 3-4 people that they did pranayama and it got solved. So that is Shraddha. You believe in it, that it has worked, and hope that it will work for me. That is to begin with Shraddha. Now, why on Shastra? And what kind of Shraddha we have, First thing, why it is emphasized also. A lot of emphasis is given on Shraddha. In Upanishad it says one should be Shraddhavitta. One should be rich. And one should be rich in terms of the wealth of Shraddha. Famous Vakya of Gita, Gitaji Bhagavad Gita, Shraddhavan lavate jnanam. The person with Shraddha gains knowledge. There are so many Vakyas like that, emphasizing the need for Shraddha. What is that Shraddha? Why? Here, Shraddha is Shastreshu Pramana Buddhi. Pramana Buddhi means what? The Pramanam, the definition of Pramanam is Pramakaranam Pramanam. That which gives rise to knowledge. Means of knowledge is called as Pramanam. What does it mean by means of knowledge? Which kind of knowledge? Asandigdam abaditam gnana karanam pramanam. Prama. That which gives rise to prama is called pramanam. And what is prama? There is a definition. You just say it is not simply knowledge. Prama means asandigdam abaditam gnana. The knowledge which is free from doubts and the knowledge which is free from errors, not subject to correction, not subject to modification, not subject to any kind of change. That is called Prama. These five means of knowledge, eyes, ears, etc., are called pramana for respective vishaya, respective object of knowledge. How? Look at these eyes. Eyes are called pramanam to know the forms and colors. Suppose you close your eyes and you touch something. You may guess that is of this form, but certainly you cannot know the color. Your nose may tell something, your ears may tell no. Another means is that the knowledge that is given by the eyes about the color and the forms is not subject to verification or negation by any other means that is a pramana. For sound, ears are pramana. By inferring the lip movement, you cannot say the person said this. No, that's not a means of knowledge. And what you hear, it gives a knowledge which is free from any doubt and free from any error, not subject to correction. True, like what I'm talking now, you hear through your ears, though you may see me talking. You see my gestures, you see my expressions of the eyes, you see my movements of the lips, but then through them, you may infer that Swamiji is happy cutting a joke or talking something serious, but that's not the means. What ears say is the ultimate. That is the means of knowledge, and whatever ears reveal to you about the sound, that is always free from doubts. That is whether when you infer through lip movement or expressions or gestures, there may be a doubt, there may be a correction, but not with the ears in terms of sound. So eyes are pramanam for knowing the forms, ears are the pramanam, ears are the pramanani for knowing the sound. Tongue is a pramana for test. Similarly, Vedanta Upanishad is pramana for knowing the self. Look at this. This is Maya. You know, Upanishad is pramana. Eyes are the pramana to know the color and the form. Here is a blind man who feels the heat of the sun and confidently goes about saying, I am sure sun is square. This fellow says. He tells that I am sure sun is square and sun is green or something. He gives his own color. He gives own shape. He gives his own size. And he tells confident. Same is the case here. Whatever our buddhi thinks, intellect is a seat of knowledge. Intellect is a seat of judgment. It knows something, and it makes judgment about many things. And one of them is judgment about myself. What's a judgment? Aham dukhi, aham karta, aham bhokta, aham alpaha, etc., etc. And we confidently say that this is what I am. And when someone says to that blind man, or a person not opening the eyes, let us say, and sees, oh, in front of me, he closes with a band, black band, and sees in front of me, there is a red rose. And he goes up talking confidently. Whereas the other person is not holding a rose, he's holding a snake. And when that person says, come on, open your eyes and look here. No way, how can it be snake? It is rose, I am sure. You have to open the eyes. Then you tell. Similarly, you have to expose yourself to Shastra. Shastra is a pramana. not your buddhi. So when that clarity first, Shastra is a pramana for self-knowledge, and Shraddha can also mean belief or trust or surrender. So Shastra Shraddha means surrendering to Shastra. First is, I trust that the Shastra is a pramanam to know the self. That is, I trust. And then I realize, then I surrender myself to Shastra. What is Shastra surrender? Look at this example. Suppose I show you this object. It is an airport container. And I tell all of you, look at this red rose in my hand. Look at this red rose in my hand. Now, when I say this, look at the red rose in my hand. It is neither red nor it is rose. The ears give you knowledge that Swamiji says it is a red rose. You have a respect for me. You love me. And you have a surrender also for me. Suppose in your life I have told you a few things and you have just surrendered to do that, what Swamiji said. And certain things I said, don't do that, and you just gave it up because Swamiji said. I surrender my choice. I surrender my habits to Swamiji. But here, when I say it is red rose, you have surrendered upon me, but ears gives a knowledge that Swamiji says it is a red rose, and eyes tell this is white colored airport container. Whom do you believe? You surrender your freedom to your eyes. Even if Lord Krishna himself comes, this is a local Paramatma. Suppose original Paramatma comes in the same attire where you can believe, yes, with more pictures, peacock feathers and with flute and all that. He tells the same thing. Then you know what will happen? You will doubt that Krishna. Whether it's a real Krishna or make-up Krishna. But you don't doubt your eyes. Your eyes shows this is white. And Krishna says, no, it is red. You start doubting the very Krishna. Bhagavan himself looks like a fake Krishna, not original Krishna. So when I said, look at red rose, certainly you doubted. This is a local Paramatma telling it's not red, it is white. Even when Krishna insists, no, why don't you see it is red rose? You may ask the neighbor, what is it? You also see the same? I see only white. What do you see? You don't suspect your eyes, you suspect Krishna's statement. And the neighbor says, yes, it is a white airport container. But why Krishna is talking like this? That is called Pramana Buddhya Shraddha. There was Shraddha in the Pramana. That what eyes are telling must be right. I don't doubt the eyes, I doubt everything else. Similarly, Shastra Shraddha, I don't doubt the Shastra. My attitude would be, Shastra says it is Aham Brahmasmi, it must be right. The problem must be with my thinking. Probably I need to understand the things in a better perspective. I need to understand it again and again. I have to see the things again and again. The whole problem is this Mahavakya, Tat Tvam Asi. This equation is not understood. Though it's an equation, apparently to begin with, it's a contradictory statement. The immediate response is, how can it be like this? Because the buddhi has concluded that aham jivaha, parichinnaha, alpaha, etc., dukhi, and there is an orientation. This is Maya again, human orientation. Every religion also does the same thing. They project that Bhagavan is different from me and sitting somewhere, not here. They say that's how, whether you studied those religion or not, there is a natural orientation to think that Ishvara is not here. What I see means experience. That the whole Jagat is certainly not Ishvara. He or she has to be somewhere else and something other than what I see and experience. As the Shastra says, Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam, or that famous mantra of Purushottam, Yatcha Kinchit Jagat Sarvam, Drashyate Shruyate Piva, Antar Bahishya Tat Sarvam, Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha. Yat Kinchit Jagat Shruyate Drashyate Anubhuyate Va. Whatever world you see, hear, or experience, everything, Tat Sarvam, all of them, Antar Bahihi, inside as well as outside, Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha. It is always pervaded by Narayana, inside and outside. So what you see is non-separate from Narayana. What you experience is non-separate from Narayana. That being a case, hard to accept. Orientation is just opposite. Now, to understand this, to see this, the truth of this particular statement, I need to relook myself. I need to re-examine myself. And that attitude to begin with, to relook or to re-examine myself, is called as Shraddha. That means there may be something wrong in my knowledge, or that may be notion, though I use the word knowledge, but the Shastra cannot be wrong. Though I feel myself as though I experience myself as a limited being, but I may not be so. That is a Shraddha. Shastra Vakyeshu Shraddha. It must be right. As Pujya Swamiji used to say, accepting the things pending discovery. You accept and you proceed further. When you accept that this must be true, but simply acceptance means andhashraddha, without understanding. Oh, Guru says it is true, Shastra says this is true. No, that is not shraddha. Accepting pending discovery. I accept to discover. I accept not just to believe in it, but I have accepted it to discover the truth of this statement. I have accepted this to to own up that vision, what it is there revealed by the Shastra, that is called Shraddha. Okay? Pending discovery, acceptance. That gives you the strength to proceed. If there is a non-acceptance, then there is a rejection. How can it be? And there is a dismissal of the whole blessed thing. That is not there. So, Shastra Shraddha. Then comes to Guru Shraddha. What is Guru Shraddha? These words of Shastra needs to be handled. The thing that is revealed by the words is in a way beyond the words. In nutshell, I will not get into this topic because it's a different thing altogether. In nutshell, teachers, this the whole methodology of communication is really very peculiar. Teacher has to, what you don't know is unknown thing. Teacher has to use the known words and lead you to that something which is unknown and knock off the known meaning, the limited meaning of the words. So that is called Adhyaropa Apvada Prakriya all the way. And the meanings of the world should be unlocked in a proper way, in a proper perspective. There is already misunderstanding. There is already confusion. Teachers has to be so careful in using the words that it doesn't create more confusion. It may not create more ambiguity. The words should be used in such a way that it imparts clarity. And that is why the students requires, first of all, teacher is required, because anything which is Shabdatmakam always lends itself to be misunderstood or not understood. Because what you hear, that knowledge, it doesn't take place as you hear, because it is often colored by your background, your likes and dislikes. And therefore, you need a teacher who knows how not to let those sentences get colored or get shaded by the one's background. In other words, teacher has two jobs. First, he uses the choicest of the word to knock off those notions, to knock off those misconceptions. Thereby, student gets a mind which is conducive for the knowledge. Teacher helps the student to gain the necessary frame of mind which can gain the knowledge and hold the knowledge. And secondly, teacher has to have an art of communication called as a methodology of teaching, by which teacher communicates the vision of the Shastra. It's a very, very subtle process. And then there is a Vakya in Kathopanishad, Ashcharya Vakta Kushalosya Labdha Ashcharya Gnata Kushalanusrishtaha. The teacher has to be very kushal. First of all, to get a teacher is Ashcharya. And the teacher communicating, the skill to communicate is also Ashcharya. So the teacher, and the teaching process is called Kushalosya Vakta. Has to be Kushal. It calls for very, very subtle perceptions about the Shastra and about the student also. When the student comes to teacher, the student comes with a loaded mind. The mind which is loaded with the prejudices, mind which is loaded with the notions, mind which is loaded with some preconceived ideas, mind which is loaded with some past memories and emotions. All that is, and it's a very, very complex mind. Teacher needs to understand the complexities of the mind and has to address to those factors which adds to complexity and remove them. Make it a simple learning mind, simple objective mind, simple open mind. All the shutters of the avenues of thinking usually stands pulled down or partially open, not fully open. And whatever teacher says, it doesn't get in the way it should get in. If at all it gets in partially, because those shutters of the avenues of the knowledge, wisdom are not open. And that is a free objective mind. That is also Shraddha. When student has a Shraddha, that student gains that mind. When teacher teaches, he or she takes into account the complexity of the student's mind certain problems in the thinking of a student's mind, and that problems contribute to subjective thinking. That complex of problems contribute to inhibition in accepting the facts or seeing the facts that teacher has to knock off. And the whole teaching process, though we say, I learned the Shastra, there is no learning. I studied, no. Teacher as though thinks through your intellect when there is Shraddha. You just surrender your thinking, you surrender your object, your notions and prejudices. Teacher thinks through you. That is what is depicted by that famous picture of Bhagavad Gita Upadesha. Krishna sitting as a charioteer, as a Sarathi. In that there is a simile in Kathopanishad. The body is a Ratha, Jivatma, the individual, is a Ratha Swami, sense organs are the horses, the mind is the reins, and the Buddhi is a Sarathi, the driver who leads the horse, speed, direction, etc. There Krishna is sitting. That means total identification of my thinking capacity with the teacher. That individuality is momentarily lost. I just go along, as they say. I just go with the flow. I just let the things unfold. And when there is so much of identification, you are just oblivious of everything, including yourself. Oblivious of the world around. Sometimes you get those experiences when you are so engrossed in the whole blessed thing that you are oblivious of your pain, your body requirement, everything. And the whole thing goes like that. And suddenly the point says, tomorrow we'll see you come back. Then realize, oh, there is a back pain. I am sitting like this. Or there is a numbness in the legs. Oh, this fellow is sitting beside me. Nothing. Total identification of Buddhi with the teacher. So please understand, surrendering Buddhi does not mean surrendering thinking capacity. Two things are involved in it. Surrendering the likes and dislikes, prejudices, notions, certain emotions, inhibiting factors, just leave aside. And then surrendering Buddhi means identifying with the thinking process of the teacher. I am totally identified with how the teacher thinks, how the teacher unfolds. That is called surrender. Not just closing it off, not shutting it off. If you shut down that thinking, then that is called Andhashraddha. I'm not talking of that. So Shraddha is identifying with the thinking. That's where Krishna is sitting as a chariot. So Arjuna goes, the Ratha Swami, he goes wherever Ratha goes. And who takes the Ratha? Krishna. So that means I go along with the thinking, along with the unfoldment, along with the flow of the thought process and the logic and the knowledge that is unfolded by the teacher, and see the fact. The vision of the teacher, actually it's a vision of the Shastra. The vision of the Shastra, which is owned up by the teacher, is revealed through the words of the teacher. And when I go along with those words, with open thinking mind, I also see the vision. So often we come across some time when we had a glimpse of the whole blessed thing. That is, that time there was total identification of my buddhi with teacher's buddhi. My thinking with teacher's thinking. That is Shraddha. It is not simply belief. It is not simply surrender. One needs to understand what does it mean. We will unfold a little bit more about, because there is one word Adi. Guru, Vedanta, Vakya, Adishu Shraddha. We saw what is Shraddha. Trust, faith, pending discovery. It's a statement of fact. Why on Shastra? Because of Pramana. Why on teacher? Because it's the words which lends itself to be misunderstood. The teacher is the one who unfolds the words true to its real meaning. And then Adi means what? We'll look into it on next Sunday. As of now, I stress a little bit because I was a little late. That's okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Flying business. Uttarayana is called the auspicious kala. Every karma and the karma phala. The karma phala of a karma is always impacted by time, place, and the situation. And depending upon this place, it is multiplied. Like any karma somewhere in America may get some result, but you do in a Punya Kshetra on the Ganga bank or Himalayas may get more result. It is like investment, If you invest in a blue chip company, you get more return. You invest in a good startup, you get multifold return, like that. So Desha, Kala, etc. impacts that. And tomorrow is a very auspicious Kala for one's growth. And the growth, as we know, most of you happens to have exposure to Pujya Swamiji and our teaching. The growth is you become a contributor. To the extent you become a contributor, to that extent, as individual, as a jiva, one has a grow. So tomorrow there is a parampara, tradition in our culture to do dana, to give. So also to cow, Gomata, temple, some sannyasis, you feed and give money. I'm sure those of you who grew up in Saurashtra must have seen every corner of the city there will be board, this Goshala and that Goshala, and they give. In Maharashtra also, there is a custom. They give this laddu of sesame seed till laddu. In between they put a coin, hidden, Gupta Dhanam, one rupee. So of course, now 100 rupee coin is also available, but they don't put that. They put only 1 rupee coin. You can put something you have to give. That's a day. It's a beginning to learn to share, to learn to give. So at least we should go to temple and do some dhanam. At least continue the tradition symbolically. To hold on to forms. I'm sure some of you are contributing all of that, but at least teach your children that this is a day that you have to contribute. So they learn the form. And that is why on Uttarayana Day, there is a Dana Parva, it is called. Dana Parva, very auspicious. And it is not just 14 January, it is an astrological event when the sun moves towards the north. And the Uttar, north is very auspicious in our tradition. Himalaya is in north, Ganga is north, Rishis are north, and the Moksha Disha is north. And Yama Disha is south. So when you turn to north, you are showing your back to south. That means you show your back to Yama and you want to run away from Yama. So you go to Uttar. That's how Dakshinamurti is. Lord is facing south, facing death, Mrityunjaya. And you go to him, you surrender to him, that means you are going towards north. So movement towards north symbolizes movements towards moksha. And that happens when you become a contributor. Means you become a giver. And ultimately the giving up is ahankara. That notion, ignorance is to be given up. But the strength to give up ignorance, strength to give up the ahankara comes when you have a strength, inner strength to give up mamakara. So that's how this tradition to give. So just do some charity tomorrow, or at least do sankalpa. If it happens to be a working day, that you will give some donation for Gomata or for temple or some Vidyadhan or some poor. And let your children know this, that this is to be done. It is called Uttarayanam. Uttara, that becomes Uttara. Ut means to grow above. And Trutara means cross over. When you rise above your attachment, when you rise above your sense of possessiveness, then you gain a capacity to cross the samsara. So Taranam is in terms of study, and going up is in terms of becoming contributor. Okay? That's why it is called very auspicious. And of course, astrologically also. Technically, the Uttarayana morning is 15th. So the Kumbha Snanam is on 15th of January. It's a very auspicious Snanam. And there people do all Satkarmas on the 15th. So either tomorrow or day after, just make a sankalpa, fulfill it. Okay?